Riding right up in just 15 minutes, Channel 4 racing from Newmarket. Stay with us now, though, as Turf Accounts discovers just how rough a ride it is to become a jockey.
I can tell you a good story. We had a trainer, his son is still training today, Robert Armstrong, his father, a big man, big fella, a bit of a bully man really. And one day when they were cantering and they were pulling up in this canter at the chalk pit, and this horse dropped and the kids went over the top and lay there. And he had a big white hack and he rode it and he says, "Boy," he says, "you fell off that like a sack." And the kid just looked at him and he said, "What do you expect for 2 bob a week? Tom Mix?" That's all he used to get in them days for the first month, 2 bob a week. Shilling Friday and a shilling on Monday. I'm going to spend it all at once.
This graduating class at the British Racing School probably wouldn't know a shilling from a sixpence. Yet 20 years after Ray took off his silks, their ambition remains the same as his. The odds are stacked against them, but despite that and the physical and financial hardships ahead, they remain cheerfully undaunted.
It's a good life. Hard but good.
With just 200 fully professional jockeys currently registered in Britain, for every John Reid, Frankie Dettori or Mick Fitzgerald, there are literally hundreds of apprentices, desperate for a chance to race in public. It's a career marked out in long hours, hard knocks and endless disappointment. For some of these young hopefuls, their time at the racing school may be as close as they get.
Most of them will not become jockeys, and that's not what we're aiming for when we're training them. A foundation modern apprenticeship is about preparing them to be stable staff, so that is what we are aiming for. That doesn't mean to say that most of them don't hope to become jockeys. Realistically, most of them will not become jockeys. Some of them will be good enough to have a licence and perhaps have a few rides, but the expectation that a number from every course are going to go on to become some of the nation's leading sportsmen is clearly not realistic.
I mean, you're talking about 500 at one shot for one lad to get any, from apprentice to be anything. It's a hell of odds. It's big odds. And to be a champion jockey, well, they're phenomenal odds, really.
Nice hole there, Chris, that's all right. Steady, 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 steady.
Assuming they make the grade, the next step for this class is to leave the safety of the school and get a job in a professional training yard with an established trainer. In the outside world, starts can be earlier, the work harder, and it goes on week in, week out, whatever the weather. This is where they will ride out each morning to exercise the horses in the yard and hopefully catch the trainer's eye with their technique and innate horse sense.
Toby, let go of his head.
It's an industry that doesn't suffer fools gladly. Unlike changes over the years in other areas, the subsistence income of these apprentices remains the same.
Well, yeah, I was struggling, Jesus. It was hard, it was really hard. And I got married. Oh, it was a laugh, that was, getting married. How am I going to keep the family? It was difficult, very, very difficult.
If their big chance does come, they'll be paid a handsome £68 and 17 pence per flat race and £93.15 to ride over the jumps.
Going to that, and unseated the rider Ivory Charm, and we've got a melee here. White Jacket Architect just hampered a little.
If they want a long career, they'll have to try and avoid injuries. Flat jockeys expect to fall once per 500 rides. A jump jockey expects a fall once every 13 races.
It's not always the falls that do the damage, it's very often the ones coming behind you that do damage. It's a bit like you falling out of a car driving along the motorway. You know, the fall itself would be bad enough, but you know, trying to dodge the cars that are coming whizzing along behind you, and it's very similar. A lot of the time, people can't miss you.
Starting from the top, collarbone, shoulder blade. What's this bone called?
I broke 4 ribs, one fall, collarbone another, and last year, my worst injury, I broke my right leg.
I broke my back quite badly. I was very lucky not to be paralysed. And although I recovered and was fit enough to ride, I was classed as not fit enough to take a fall. So medically I wasn't given my licence back. And I had to come to terms with not racing.
Pelvis, shin bone, I think. And then just general leg injuries, because when he falls off, well, sorry, I didn't say that, when he falls, when the horse falls, he'll never fall off. When the horse falls, he's got such long legs, he always gets trodden on.
Yeah, I broke my pelvis 8 ways. My discs in my back were all broken. They had 3 of them had to come out. I had to repair my hand, it had to be repaired. Stood on that when I get up. Yeah, it was quite a mess, actually. It was quite a mess.
If the injuries weren't enough, to get regular rides, they'll have to watch their weight. Only fashion models can rival jockeys for their dietary obsession. Of course, there's no rule that a jockey has to be light. It's the horses that are given the handicaps that dictate what weight they can carry. But then, you don't get much call for a 16-stone jockey.
It's a bit different for somebody who'd like to lose weight. For us, we have to. It's part of the job. If you're overweight, you don't ride. It's as simple as that.
It's a problem for every jockey. It comes down to intake of food, really. No matter what people tell you about their metabolism, lack of food will keep you light.
I used to run around the heath in sweats, in rubber suits, things like that. You know, it was nothing to me to go out and take 6 or 7 pounds up on the heath. You know, just to ride, just to have the privilege of having that ride. You know, it was something you do, and you cut your leg off for it virtually. You know.
I'm in 8-1 now. I'm obviously going to grow. My dad's quite tall as well, so. But if I can keep it 8'5" when I'm fully grown, I think I'd be able to go over them flat.
There was probably a dozen of us that used to ride regularly and turn up at the racetracks together and, you know, share the camaraderie of the ladies' changing room, if you like, because it was a very lonely place if you were the only girl riding, because of course you had separate changing rooms. And in those days you very often didn't even share the same tea room, which obviously made things better when you did. But I mean, I remember riding the Grand National being the only girl, and it was very lonely in the sort of minutes and hours leading up to the race.
When in the yard, your time is owned by young thoroughbreds in your charge. Once you have your licence, your time belongs to the racing schedule.
From October right through until the end of May, we don't have a holiday. You know, we're racing 6 days a week, sometimes 7, up and down the country. You know, race planning wherever they send us, really. And a lot of the time we have to get ourselves to the meetings, you know, on a daily basis. We might be in Yorkshire today and then in Devon the next day, you know.
Can't ever go on holiday. I'm going on holiday next week with the children, leaving him behind, because riding out and racing, and I tend not to watch because I'd rather not see it. And you know, the thought of having 2 small children and a husband to look after is not great, and the humour fails when they're injured.
You've got red paint in your hair, Billy.
And the opportunities are there's nothing guaranteed. You know, if someone goes into a bank and they want to work to make manager, if you're good enough, you'll probably get there. But in this game, you can be good enough and never, ever, ever get a break. I know plenty of, lots and lots of lads, good riders, who never, ever got a ride in public, which is very unfair.
Business, going ballistic and honest, horse in second place, it's coming back for more, Florida Pearl is beaten in third, but at the line, it's Seymour Business is the winner.
What keeps most jockeys going is the prospect of winning a big race. Mick Fitzgerald has won more than most, including the Cheltenham Gold Cup and what is undoubtedly one of the most famous events in the sporting calendar.
The National, you know, as G, who's doing my back, will tell you, is a race that everybody wants to ride in. And once you've ridden in it, everybody wants to win it. And it's everybody's dream. There's a lot of very, very good jockeys, champion jockeys, who've won virtually every single race that have never won it. John Neal, I don't think ever even completed the course in a race. So, you know, for my name to be up there with the rest of them, you know, it's pretty good, really.
We go to the Grand National. I don't really know why, because you see more if you watch it on telly, but it's the atmosphere and the buzz and the excitement, and the boys are so grumpy on Grand National morning because they're so frightened. I mean, I bet that's probably the bottom line. And most of them, I mean, usually there are 3 of them who haven't had to spend the night before in the sauna, because you have the top weighted horse and then the rest of them are all out of the weight. So you've got this bunch of skinny, grumpy jockeys all sort of marching around Liverpool, and all the wives having a lovely time, allegedly.
Of course, as John Reid knows, the more you win, the more rides you're offered, and the better your chances of success.
I mean, it's hard to get going in any sport, and I think it's hard work that keeps you there at the end of the day. The people that work at it do the best at it, there's no doubt about that. Generally, I'll have 4 or 5 rides per day, and if there's an evening meeting, you could be riding 7 or 8 horses a day. I mean, between March and November, I'll be looking to have about 900 rides, somewhere around there.
Back at the British Racing School, they're still dreaming of that first chance to race out in public. Knowing that for most it's never going to happen is no deterrent to the optimism of youth.
Just take that risk. Must be some feeling to win at Cheltenham.
Indeed it must. And who knows? Just maybe he'll find out.
Winning the Washington DC International, really. That was my fondest memory. Lord Ivor and Lady Ivor, Bernard Van Cuts and his wife, Maura Farrell and his wife, they just threw the rounds around me. It's a great achievement. It's unbeatable now. It's been abandoned, the race. It was an invitation race, and I was king for the day.
Next, the lucky ones who have become full-time jockeys, over to Newmarket for the racing.
Frustrating, isn't it? When you need an any-purpose loan but don't know who to talk to about unlocking the capital tied up in your property. Even if you're self-employed, consider yourself to have a low credit rating, divorced, or retired. Don't worry, because Ocean Finance hold the key. Call 0800 858 858 and Ocean could help you. Ocean loans can be used for any purpose, and all circumstances will be considered. You may wish to improve your home, or buy a newer car, or simply consolidate all your existing debts into just one manageable monthly payment. There are no interviews, no arrangement fees, and no salesperson will call. So for that homeowner loan, call now. You'll be under no obligation, and you could secure the loan you need. Call Ocean Finance now on 0800 858 858. That's 0800 858 858.
Time Life presents the MASH Collector's Edition. Call now to order Welcome to MASH for only $4.99.
Will you put out? This is man talk. I'm sorry, sir.
See men forming friendships under fire. Call 0800 859 594 to order Welcome to MASH for the special introductory price of only $4.99. Use your credit card and receive 3 more episodes absolutely free. Call 0800 859 594 now.
The long-term forecast is bleak.
Are you over 50? Do you have a pension you are not currently receiving? You could get a tax-free cash sum. And or a pension now or later.
Call 0800 44 88 88 for the key to unlock your pension.
Ah, great!
Call Berkeley Jacobs, the pension specialist, today on 0800 44 88 88.
While some people might be booking their summer holidays, others are planning something more permanent. Could you find a Caribbean home for around £110,000? We found 4. A villa in Spain for the price of a suburban semi? We found 2, with a pool.
I don't think we'd get something like that for the money we've got to spend.
Perhaps you'd prefer a ranch in Miami. It's not as dear as you'd think. Turn fantasy into reality. Find a place in the sun.
And today you can catch Amanda Lamb in A Place in the Sun at 5:25. Hoping for a little sun now on 4 with Leslie Graham, we go over to Newmarket for the first meeting.
Sport on 4 with Stepstone Online Recruitment. Your first step to success in your career, your life, your future.